So let's move on to the topic thyristor turn on methods. So this note is already uploaded in your LMS portal. So just go through the notes when you listen to this video. Okay. Now this turn on methods of thyristor mainly related with the forward conduction mode of thyristor. That is when the thyristor is getting turned on. This turn oning method can be initiated by various triggering methods like forward voltage, gate triggering, dV upon dt, temperature and light, right? So for that what we need to do, the condition is with anode positive with respect to cathode. Thyristor can be turned on by any one of the following technique. So in forward conduction mode we have seen that when there is increase in the anode cathode voltage, the thyristor is shifting from the blocking condition to conduction mode, right? Same case, see the first method here, what's written, forward voltage triggering. So with the forward voltage, that is VAK, is increased, J2 is reverse biased as we all know. So when VAK is increased, what will happen? The J2 will face a breakdown, and that breakdown is called avalanche breakdown or forward breakdown voltage, that is VBO, which you can see from the previously drawn graph in VI characteristics of thyristor, right? Now this method is not preferred all the time because SCR may get destroyed due to high power loss when it is triggered at a high voltage. Actually what happened, the voltage becomes very high, the anode cathode voltage, and that voltage helps in turn on of the thyristor. But this thing what happened, due to this there occurs a very high power loss in the circuit, okay, because of the high voltage. So there is always a dangerous situation whenever that SCR is getting turned on with this method, it may get destroyed, right? So it is not so much preferable method, but yes, this is one of the method for turning on of the thyristor. Let's move on to the next method. Next method is gate triggering method. What is that? Now gate triggering method are of two types. One is continuous gate, another is pulse gate. Continuous gate means you are giving the gate pulses without any interval, right? Without any interval. So continuous gate signal is applied until the SCR is expected to be non-state. So until the SCR is getting turned on, we are giving continuous gate pulses to make it turn on. Okay, so what this is also, this process is not efficient. Why? Because continuous gate, we are applying continuous gate, so this also create a power loss in the circuit. Okay, so under the same gate triggering, our second method is pulse gate signal. In pulse gate signal, what happened, we get pulse in various intervals. Suppose the first pulse which we will give, that may be 0 to t. Suppose this is the applying of pulses. What? Suppose this is 0, this is t. So first positive pulse we are giving from 0 to t. Then from t to t1 we are giving no pulse. Okay, again from t1 we are giving a pulse. So this is called pulse gate signal. Okay, so what is t? T is the gate pulse width. I mean this total is the width. Okay, total is the t. Now this t1 is the what? The time period. Okay, so what is the duty cycle? The duty cycle is t upon t1, that is the t. T means the total width of the gate pulse upon t. T is the t upon t1. T1 is the time period. So what happens here, by changing the duty cycle we can turn on the thyristor at different interval of time. Okay, what is our next? Next is high frequency gate signal. What happened in high frequency gate signal? They mainly see, this is the application of pulses like this. What is the advantage of this method? This method reduces the size of pulse transformer. Actually mainly what happened, this is the method where we use a pulse transformer to trigger an SCR. To trigger a SCR. So what it do? It mainly provides electrical isolation between high power main circuit and low power gate firing circuit. And what happened, this pulse transformer, this is the instrument. Okay, this instrument, what it do, it helps in triggering one or more SCR. Okay, now come to next method. Next method is very simple, that is dV upon dt triggering method. dV upon dt means what? Voltage is derivative of voltage upon time. So voltage is changing with respect to time. That is dV upon dt triggering. Okay, from this diagram you can see this is P junction, N junction, P again N. This is anode, this is cathode. Anode is made positive with respect to the cathode. This is J2 which is reverse bias, and J1, J3 is forward bias. This is G which is the gate signal, or gate we can say terminal, right? So what happened in this junction where gate is present, okay, and J2 is present, what happened? Their charges exist. It's a depletion region where charge actually exists. So what J2 behaves like a capacitance. Now if forward voltage is applied, then what will happen? The charging current through the junction capacitance may turn on the SCR. Now this is the junction capacitance Cj. Okay, what I told, J2 act as capacitance. So that will now initiate the process of turning on of the SCR at high dV upon dt, which I told you, increase in high voltage, what will happen? The current will increase. Okay, now this current increase, definitely it is that means for the charging current will increase. So if the charging current will increase, or if it becomes more than the latching current, then what will happen? The SCR will get turned on. So means this is the condition. IC must be greater than IL. And I told you what is latching current. Go through the previous video once. Latching current mainly deals with the on state of the thyristor, right? So this is our dV upon dt turn on method. Okay, now there is another special feature of dV upon dt, that is critical dV upon dt. What is that? It's the dV upon dt at which SCR will turn on. At critical dV upon dt, charging current is equal to latching current. Now see what I told you. In dV upon dt, what happened? This IC must be greater than IL. But in critical dV upon dt, what happened? This IC remains equal to the latching current. Okay, IC is the capacitance current. So let's move on to the next topic, next method, that is temperature triggering. So when temperature is increased near the reverse bias gate junction, then what happened? The device initiated turn on the thyristor. How? By electron hole pair which is produced in the depletion region. Okay, now semiconductors are very sensitive, and characters of the device may change as the temperature changes. Okay, so this method is no more used. Why? Because it actually the semiconductors which we are using in the circuit, the characters make it change as the temperature change, because they are very sensitive to temperature. So that is not acceptable. That is why this temperature triggering method is not so much in use. Even we don't use this method. Now next method is light triggering method. Now what happened? This is the basic structure of a thyristor, right? Anode, cathode. This is the gate terminal. This is the PN junction. So when light radiation is incident near the depletion region, and this is the depletion region where the gate signal is given. So when the light radiation is incident near the depletion layer, what happened? The movement the movement in the number of electron hole pairs are increased. Okay, and that is produced how? By absorbing the light energy in the depletion layer. And what happened? Due to this initiates the turn on process of the SCR. Application mainly we use in HVDC application, that is high voltage DC application, or used in laser, LACR. Okay, so light triggering method is a acceptable method which we can use for turn on of the SCR.